Here are 3 players to watch in the NCAA tournament that if you don't know, you better ask somebody. Everyone just loves New Mexico to upset number 6, have the potential to go at least one more round. Deron Holmes, Shahade Wells, and Enrique Freeman, 3 players you have to know about. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. Mike Randle here, FTN College Basketball Betting Show. FTN Fantasy, ready to roll. We had a fantastic day. Ended up last night, 6 of our last 7. That's why you have to be in Discord. Josh Gross jumped in, gave us a couple here for the North Carolina game. Seth Trimble, big game, huge comeback by the Tar Heels. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope you have a great time, my favorite holiday. We're going to give you a quick rundown today of some of the games. Feast week is in full effect. We're having a great season. Things are going really well. No show on Thursday. Be traveling up there, hanging out with my brother-in-law, who's still mad at me about the Vermont loss. So I may be getting the dark meat or eating with the dogs there, to be honest with you. But then I'll be back on Saturday, normal time, 10 o'clock. You tune in. We'll be ready to go. Last night was great. Learned a lot. Ton of incredible games. The UConn regression is coming. Enjoy it. Not sure if it's going to happen today, but enjoy it. Exactly what we've been thinking, and some of the opinions that we formed so far this year are starting to come into effect. That's why you join us. That's why you hit like, subscribe here at FTN. Make sure to join us. Come to the site. We have incredible things. We have contest sims for DFS. You want to do some DFS lineups for Thanksgiving. Only place to go, FTN Fantasy. Comments, picks. Here we go. Hi, Roland in the house. Hi, Roland. A good day yesterday. We enjoyed Trevor. Love to see it. Mimosas in Creighton. Austin, mimosas, yes. Creighton, no. We'll get to that in a minute. The amount of dogs, yeah, I know it was, but we had some good pick. We had a good run yesterday, but it could have been an amazing day if some of those didn't die at the last point. Feast week in the house. Here we go, Dream. Dream, good to see you, buddy. Great to see you. Here we go. Picks, ready to roll. Here they come. No Stephen Ashworth in this game. I am fading Creighton, okay? And I don't think Creighton should be favored. I know Ryan Kalkbrenner's been great. I know this is a young San Diego State team, but this game is in Las Vegas, and I do not like Creighton. They have to shoot well. They haven't been shooting great to start the year. They haven't really played a massive level of opponent here. No Ashworth in this game is going to be a problem. No disrespect to Rio Grande Valley, who we like, by the way. Fairleigh Dickinson, Houston Christian, Kansas City. They are on the road here, away from home for the first time. They're 68% from inside the arc. But this is a San Diego State team under Brian Dutcher. I don't care that they're young. I don't care that they have to replace 88% of their minutes from last year. They're going to guard you. They're top 10 in the country at guarding inside the arc. And they played Gonzaga. So they've had some experience playing a big man in Graham Ike. I'm taking the 3.5 points here with San Diego State. Don't even mind the money line play. I've been saying it all year. I think it's time for Izzo to go. I love Tom Izzo. I'd love to see him make another run. The problem is they just don't have the talent of the other teams. And he's a superior coach, so he gets his team to play above its head. They are shooting 20% from three-point range. So the only way I'm worried about this one is if the game starts and Michigan State's banging threes left and right. They have played 6 games. They're shooting 20% from three-point range. This is a tough Memphis team. Lindsey Hunter was making shots. Dane Danger was tough inside. They put a lot of pressure on you. They're very similar to Kansas in terms of having a big man and having shooters outside and getting up and guarding. And Memphis makes their free throws. This run of Memphis is eerily similar to the Michigan run under Juwan Howard, where they just steamrolled everybody. That was a big win yesterday, and it shouldn't even been that close. UConn made a lot of shots, but it was a good game plan by Penny Hardaway, who I'm not a big fan of in terms of X's and O's, but he did a good job yesterday. They're playing well. I like this team. I will take Memphis. I put in this score last night at -1.5. It's +1.5. Memphis over Michigan State. I think they roll. Whenever we need a win, we fade Stan Johnson, and we're going to fade it again. The money is coming in on Loyola Marymount. I don't care. I don't. Belmont can shoot the 3. Stan Johnson's teams always want to rely on the three-pointer. That's how they generate most of their points, and they have not been falling this year. They're usually better at home. They're shooting only 29%. They're allowing 38% from three-point range. They're allowing teams to shoot 39% from three-point range. And by the way, that's Life Pacific, UC Irvine, St. Louis, and North Dakota. Here comes Belmont, who's shooting 38% from 3. And you want me to be nervous because this game's in Mexico? No chance. Belmont -1.5, laying the small number. And I'm well aware, thank you to the comments, that I'm doing remarkably well on underdogs, but struggling with favorites this year. I think our underdog picks are like 75%, but we're going to lay a small number here. Certainly are. Rutgers is in trouble. They don't have a center. They got the two big recruits this year, the freshmen, but they're still freshmen. They're adjusting. You've seen Cooper Flagg have to adjust. You saw McNeely had to adjust yesterday with UConn. There's just an adjustment period. It's very hard to come in as a freshman and dominate like a Zion Williamson or someone like that. So Notre Dame's got a great backcourt. They got Shrewsbury. They got Burton. They're well coached. Rutgers does not have a big man inside, so you're not going to be able to pound Notre Dame. I think this is a bad matchup. They lost to Kennesaw State. There's no NIL money left for them to get a center. That was the problem. They lost a big man. He went down to Alabama. Don't like it. Notre Dame plus 2.5. Fine with the money line as well. I'm not a big Alabama guy. You know that because of the variance, but I'm not a big Houston guy this year either. You lose a leader like Jamal Shed, you're going to have to adjust. And they have plenty of players that can make baskets. But Terrence Arsenault comes into this game. He's a little banged up. Now, Houston is number one in both our power rankings here at FTN, and they're number one in terms of the polls. But I don't like this spot for Houston at all. Milos Uzan has been really good, but he's going to get some length and some defensive pressure from Alabama here. I do think that Emmanuel Sharp has been strong from the outside. LJ Cryer has sort of slipped into that role that Jamal Shed had. But Alabama was able to win against Illinois in a semi-home game last time with Mark Sears having 0 points. Mark Sears is not having 0 points today. Coin flip game, really close. You're going to give me 4.5. Probably not going to be 4.5 by the time the show's over. I'm taking Alabama plus 4.5 there. You're always worried with Texas A&M because if the offense shows up, they can beat everyone. And Buzz Williams is a fantastic coach. But I'm going to take a shot here with Oregon, who I think is always undervalued because of the East Coast bias. They're going to need a big game from Wade Taylor. You don't know what you're getting from Wade Taylor. It can be very up and down. So far this year, he's been pretty consistent. 13, 10, 15, 15, 17, but he's not shooting well from three-point range. He was 4 of 10 last time. Oregon's not going to let you do that. I think this is a well-coached Oregon team. This is another battle in Las Vegas, neutral court, good Oregon team. They could win the Big Ten this year. And Texas A&M, who can be very streaky with the offense up and down. Texas A&M is going to beat up on a team that's not well coached in this spot. I don't think they're going to beat up on Oregon. We could lose this one late, but I'm going to take the 3.5 with Oregon. Eastern Kentucky likes to turn you over. It's 4.5. It just seems high to me. It's a coin flip game. Eastern Kentucky's pressure should be able to generate some turnovers. I'm not making this a full play. I'm only making this a half unit play. But Eastern Kentucky under A.W. Hamilton, always fast-paced, always turns you over. They're top 60 this year in turnovers. They're also great on the boards as well. Southern Illinois, remember Scott Nagy came over to Southern Illinois after being at Wright State for all those years. They've given back a little bit. They've lost 3 of their last 4. That was a bad neutral court loss to Louisiana Tech. They played well. Eastern Kentucky turns you over. Give me a couple threes. Give me the 4.5. I'm not a fan of Miami of Ohio. They burned me a couple times this year, and now all of a sudden they're going to be a favorite on a neutral court. That I don't see. Miami of Ohio under Travis Steele, and I liked them. They were okay yesterday against Siena. They pulled away late. They got blitzed by Michigan. They were awful. They got blitzed by Wright State. They're terrible defensively. They're terrible inside the arc. They don't make their free throws. Mercer has been competitive here. This is neutral court game. Mercer had a nice win over Jacksonville, so maybe they have some momentum, and they also played South Carolina close away. They're always going to fire the 3 from deep. They take a ton of shots from three-point range. I don't trust Miami of Ohio, and they have not separated themselves enough to be a 5-point winner today. I do think UConn responds. The regression is coming with Hurley and UConn. Not regression that I think they're going to be bad. I don't think a 22-8 season or a 21-7 season is bad, but they are not going to be 25-2, which is what all of America thinks. So I'm going to sprinkle on the first half line that they come out flying high. Remember, they had a lot of foul trouble yesterday also. That should not happen. And I'm also going to go full game. Which one do I like better? Probably the full game. I do think they pull away eventually. Colorado is a little underwhelming. Colorado is young. Colorado struggled with Michigan State. I'm going to think that the youngins are going to struggle. Colorado's always good at home, and then away they kind of become the emperor's clothes, and they're revealed. They didn't look great yesterday. They hung around Michigan. I just didn't think Michigan was that good. I'm going to take UConn on both first half and the full game. I don't know why Bryant's favored. This game's in Chattanooga. Tennessee State has already played. They played Chattanooga in Chattanooga, and Bryant did not. So this is going to be Bryant's first game there, whereas Tennessee State has already played there once. They played Chattanooga really close and covered in that game. They almost won. It was very close late. Now they're playing Bryant. They're great on the offensive boards. They play really fast. Bryant is coming off of 2 losses. They played at Stonehill with a loss, which was horrific. Then they lost to St. Bonaventure away by 15. Now this is their third. This is actually going to be, their fifth straight game away from home. They lost to Siena at home. They won away at Buffalo. They won away at Delaware. Then they lost to Stone. So they're traveling all over the place. And Tennessee State is not traveling. They played Chattanooga in that game. It was close. Now they're staying there. I'm taking Tennessee State. 8.5 is way too much in this game. Radford is really well coached. Darius Nichols does a great job defensively, slow you down, beat you up. I like Purdue Fort Wayne. I liked them yesterday. I don't like them with this number. I think Radford is being undersold here because they're still 5-2. They're always good defensively. They're great on the offensive boards. They're very fundamentally sound. Purdue Fort Wayne shoots the 3 well, but Radford's not going to let you do that. And Radford plays at a very slow pace. Radford usually gets their pace. I think they get it here. Neutral court, 8 points. Good coach. Love this spot. You want to sprinkle late? I'm okay with this. Grand Canyon away from home against Stanford. I was wrong about Maxine Reynaud, who's been playing really well. And don't forget that Stanford had a coaching change. Stanford now has Kyle Smith from Washington State. The Stanford Cardinal, East Coast bias, right? We don't pay attention to the West Coast. They're 6-0. They beat Santa Clara away. They beat Norfolk State, who's very good. Now it's Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon, nice win at home over Norfolk State. And in that game, remember, Tyon Grant Foster came back. He had 20 points. I like Ray Harrison, who transferred from Presbyterian a couple of years ago, but he can be a little up and down. This game's on the road, neutral court, but it isn't at California. Reynaud has been crazy good, Maxim Reynaud. His points, last few games, 22, 33, 20, and 32. And during that time, he's 10 of 17 from three-point range. Maybe they put Grant Foster on him or they try to slow him down. I don't think it's going to happen. Good, well-coached team in Stanford, playing in California, Grand Canyon away from that incredible home court advantage. Grant Foster's only been back for a couple games. I'll take Stanford plus the 1.5. And the game you want to know, I'm going to lean Duke. I think there are issues with Kansas. I think A.J. Storr was addition by subtraction for Wisconsin, who's been great with John Tonje. So I am going Duke tonight. I think Duke's impressive. Cooper Flagg, Proctor's due to have a big game. They're defensively, they're fantastic. They have the big man inside who can maybe limit Dickerson a little bit. Dickinson was able to do whatever he wanted against Michigan State. It's not going to happen tonight. I like Self. I like Kansas. I wish this was a pick. I'm going to lay the points. I kind of like Duke here. I think the wing issues for Kansas have not been solved. And I think he's got to go to Zeke Mayo more and bench A.J. Storr. A.J. Storr's lost on defense. Kind of an odd guy. I like the matchup for Duke. I'm going with them. Let's get to the comments, then we'll get out of here. Let's see what we got. Jerry, good to have you, buddy. Great to have you. First live show. Thank you, brother. Let's see. Yeah, I get it. They can get Reese back, but the problem is no Reese. And then I'm going to tell you that there's the no point guard here either for Creighton. And I think that kills them because if you look at Creighton's games, their scoring has pretty much come from 2 players. The scoring has come from Kalkbrenner or the scoring has come from Ashworth. You take Ashworth out of there, I think that's a major problem. That was awful against Nebraska. And Nebraska's not a big team. Kalkbrenner had, 1 attempt from the field? And it was a 3. That was it. So Pop Isaacs had 25 points. He's going to have a big game, but no Ashworth. He's going to bring the ball up the floor. And I don't like the depth there at all. I get it. I'm going to take the points with San Diego State. They do play hard. And I think Penny Jerry is fine. He builds a program. I don't think he's going to give you, there was a couple diagonals he could have hit with the 1-3-1 that didn't even look there, but he's done a good job assembling this team, and they can't make threes. Yeah, LMU. When in doubt, fade Stan Johnson. We know that. It's too much. Listen, we could get the Wade Taylor game today, Trevor. We could get 30, and if we do, we're going to lose. I'm just going to bet that we're not going to get that. They struggled against Portland State. They did, but everyone struggles, and they were able to get the win. I'll take it. Stanford and Tulsa. I told you about Stanford. The one I have not told you about is Tulsa. I think it's too many points. That's why I'm worried there. That's my concern, is I just think it's too many points, and I don't want to lay that in a neutral court game. Let's see. I thought about San Francisco. That's also a lot of points, isn't it, in that matchup? Let me see. I thought about San Francisco bouncing back after the tough loss. They lost to Clemson. They were playing well in that game. And I don't like Keith Ergo. They lost by 22. They did play Drexel at home. Manhattan away. It's just a lot of points. I think it's 10. I could be convinced there with San Francisco. I could. I'm fine with the first half. Yeah, neither one here, Joe. Neither one. Denver, I've been up and down with. And yeah, Fresno does a good job. Let me pull up the Fresno one. I considered that one. Yeah, it's a neutral. It's David Riley. It's Vance Wahlberg, though, who I don't like. Vance Wahlberg was at UMass when he was there. I'm not a Vance Wahlberg guy. He's a great, intelligent guy, and they play with pace, but I'm going to stay away. I think there's better spots there as well. Aiden, good question about South Dakota State. My issue with them, let me see. I looked at that one also. Yeah, it's Missouri State. That was it. They played well against Boise, but Missouri State's great at forcing turnovers. They also will battle on the boards. They're very good on the boards under Quanzo Martin. I get it. It's still a young South Dakota State team that replaced 4 starters from last year, and they've been pretty good this year. But that one's too close to call. I just think there's better spots. Trevor, that's fine. You want to do that? That's fine. They've been flying high. I have no problem with that. Thumbs up, please. Yes. Hi, Roland. Bless you. Of course. Stanford, totally agree. FDU. Yeah. I mean, that's my New Jersey school here, buddy. We really like Fairleigh Dickinson. Again, St. Peter's. Yeah, St. Peter's is good defensively. St. Peter's is really good defensively. They've been tough. They were tough against UAB. I think there's better spots than that. Totally agree that they can slow down and be physical with Kalkbrenner. Yeah, Jameson. Yeah, that was a rough one. Gonzaga's good. They're really good. I think that's a bad spot for you. Although I've been impressed with West Virginia this year. I have. That's a bad spot. Depends on the line. They could, Austin. They could. I have to lay a big number there. And as I told you to start the show, I'm not great with favorites, so I'm trying to go with the underdogs more often. It's just a big number, but they could run it out. Yeah, San Francisco's burned me too. That's why I'm nervous. San Francisco first half is fine. That's it, guys. We're out of here. Happy Thanksgiving. I am thankful for all of you who come to the show and join us. You know what we're doing. We're grinding right now. We have a bad day, then we have a good day. We want to incrementally get those units up there so that we peak in March. 2 years ago, Florida Atlantic, great. Last year, Clemson to the Elite Eight, almost had them to the Final Four. We're going to do it again this year. Thank you for joining me. As always, FTNFantasy.com. Join. Promo code's on the bottom there. We find you the edge. Enjoy that turkey, and we'll be back refreshed and replenished on Saturday, 10 a.m. Here are 3 players to watch in the NCAA tournament that if you don't know, you better ask somebody. Everyone just loves New Mexico to upset number 6.